Hey everyone, welcome back. So we're still doing the Fabrikat by Pladask Elektrisk. Same deal as last time, 4 more algorithms. This week it's almost like there's a theme because this group of 4, they're all tape machine style algorithms. So if you're excited about that, let's dive in and you'll see what this pedal can do. Okay, here we go. So now we're doing bank number 2 and algorithm 1, and that is called sample playback one head manual sweep. So for this set of algorithms that we're doing today, they're very much like a tape machine, all of them. So I'm going to play a pretty simple loop so you can kind of hear what they're doing. So you'll notice I have the pedal on, and you're probably noticing you're not hearing anything. Even when I crank the mix, you hear nothing at all. Now here's why. It has to do with this P2 knob. So first of all, the P1 knob changes our buffer size, and that goes from 100 to 1,000 milliseconds. The P2 knob is the adjustable playback and it adjusts the speed and the octave. So when it's at full noon, it's actually at a tape stop. So that's why you're not hearing anything. So once I start pulling this in, so now you're hearing what it's doing. It's an octave up there, and you can, kind of roll this back and find a note you like, all the way down to tape stop. And once you go this way, it starts reversing. So it goes from +1 octave to -1 octave. So in theory, if you get this in the right spot, so that sounds like it's not changing the octave, but it's reversing it. So now, if you change these buffer sizes, and you can hear how glitchy that is. And then, of course, once you start moving the loop knob around, it almost acts like a repeats knob for this particular patch. And of course you have this EQ, so you can make it really dark and have it sit under your signals, kind of a dark, kind of gritty delay under there. Now, one thing I want to remind you about with the feedback knob is, again, it takes the signal and feeds the whole thing back into itself. So if you, let's say make it go reverse 1 octave up, and you start turning up the feedback knob, all those octave up notes are going to get sent another octave up, and so on forever. So you can hear what's happening there. Same thing if we go, a lower octave, right? So now we're on bank number 2, algorithm number 2, and this is sample playback one head octave steps. This is exactly like the last patch, except for the octave goes in steps. So it makes it a lot more controllable. I find this much more useful for how I play things. And it goes from, up an octave reverse down to -2 octaves reverse to tape stop, and then the same way the other way. So basically, it'll go down 2 octaves and up 1 octave, and it'll go reverse and forward. Center is tape stop. So I hope that explained it, and let's listen to it because that's better. Now, once again, when you have this knob dead center, it's at tape stop. And much like the last patch, this is the buffer size. Again, same thing, okay? So even if we change this, because we're at tape stop, you're not going to hear anything. So let's start going through these steps. Now remember, these are octave steps. So if you're like me and you don't like putting fourths or fifths in and you just want octaves, this is, you know, my bread and butter here. And then you go this way and the tape goes forward. So if you're trying to use this as a delay, it does not have a tap tempo. So you're going to have to just kind of find the spots that you want it to play at. Again, I find this to be kind of a glitchy delay, and so it's got this character that is pretty cool. It's musical and it's muddy and dirty, so that's what I like about it. And obviously, once you start kicking in the feedback, you know what's going to happen. It's going to send the signal through, and whatever you're doing to it, it's going to keep doing it. Low end destruction as all that low end keeps getting fed into its own engine and being driven down another 2 octaves or another octave wherever you have it set. And I find this patch to be very, very cool, especially at this setting. And again, we got that from this. Okay, now we're on bank number 2, algorithm number 3. So this is a 2-head sample playback, and it has a manual sweep. So it's not at steps, it's a manual sweep. So let's hear what this sounds like. And once again, the middle position causes a tape stop, okay? So you're not able to adjust the grain size, but otherwise it's like the last couple patches. And these patches actually remind me a bit of the count of 5 here. Kind of get some similar, you know, effects out of it. Oh, we should probably turn on the pedal. So I'm going to crank the mix so you can hear this. So remember, we're at tape stop on both of them because both of these are now playback speed for tape heads. Tape head 1, tape head 2. So. So you can have a forward and a reverse. And once you kick in the feedback on this one, it almost starts sounding like a synth. Again, this is the magic of this pedal, that you can just play around with these different algorithms. And when you decide you're going to destroy the signal entirely, you kind of get into these areas that you maybe didn't know were there or didn't exist. There's no way that I would mistake this for guitar, but it's guitar, right? Because here's what we're listening to. All right, now we're on bank number 2, algorithm 4, and this is sample playback 2 heads with octave steps. So this is like the last one, but instead of it being this, fully, full range of notes when you turn these, it's actually in steps of octaves. Okay, so let's hear this. So once again, we're going to crank the mix. You can hear nothing's going on. That's because both of these tape heads now, when they're at noon, they don't play anything. Okay, the tape head is stopped. So these are now both adjustable playback, speed and octave, and they're locked into 9 steps, much like the last algorithm. So, +1 octave reversed, 0 octave changes reversed, down 1 octave reversed, down 2, etc. And I'm going to put on the screen what all these steps are. And this actually reminds me a bit of some sounds I've gotten out of the mood pedal, to be honest. Just really, really dark and lonely sounding. And again, we have the mix cranked, so. And if we freeze some sound into it. Full mix. You can hear what that's doing with something frozen. So I'm finding this pedal, especially in this set of patches, it's just incredible for taking a sound already coming through it, like a loop or something, and just destroying it and manipulating it. It reminds me a lot of the Count of 5 or the mood pedal in that regard, in that it's it can be used as kind of live performance pedal, but at the same time, it really loves to be this, kind of effects patch at the end of something that you're playing. And just the fact it gets so dark and gritty and trashed here, I really, really love that. All right, everyone, that's it. Thanks again for checking it out. That's 4 more algorithms down. Next week, we're doing the last 4 algorithms on this pedal, and then we will be done with it. But it's been pretty cool seeing everything this pedal can do. So I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have any questions about it or anything you want to know, drop me a line in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer it either in the video or replying to you in the comments. All right? Okay, thanks so much, and have a great week.